Got some American-made whips lining up in Mount Haruna for y'all today. My opponent's got the almighty, all-powerful Cyclone, and I'm rocking that brand new Ford Thunderbird. And as usual, that acceleration award goes to my opponent. I prefer to get my handling sorted out first and deal with the acceleration and the power after the fact. And that generally leaves me a car that's lacking on race starts, but has the ability to hunt down my opponents over the course of the race. I am rocking the Forza Aero on this whip, front and back, and it is helping me get around these corners without understeering. And as far as what's on my feet, you know I'm rocking them vintage white wall tires. It's just like Luigi told Lightning McQueen, black wall tires, they blend into the pavement, but these white wall tires, they say, look at me, here I am, love me. All this is to say that I think my tires are making up for the way that dirty Forza Aero looks on this whip. We're going to attempt to switch back here, but I accidentally bumped my opponent's rear end and give him a little speed boost. Not that he needs it, that acceleration is carrying him through all these corners before I can get to him. But something I noticed by the first hairpin of this race is that my opponent's steering stat cannot possibly be that good, because he's accelerating all the way down to these corners, getting to him long before I am, but I'm catching up to him and getting right back on his ass before he can even exit out of the corner. So my goal now is to just stay as close as I can and be a thorn in his side until he makes a mistake. My opponent's got a bad habit of diving towards the apex and trying to rotate his car through the corner. There was plenty more road on his outside that he could have occupied to get him around that corner much quicker, so he could be much further away from me down this straight. But in racing, one person's mistake is another person's opportunity, so I'm just going to get close as I can through these corners and wait for him to make a mistake too big for him to recover from. All the corners that we've gone through so far have not been extreme hairpins, but we do have at least one extreme hairpin coming up at the end of these twisties here. And with this road being as twisty as it is and my car handling better than his, I know I'll be able to catch up before we get to that tight hairpin, and he will dive for that apex, opening a large opportunity for me to cut back on him. If you play a lot of racing games, you'll learn how to read your opponent like a book. And just as foretold, he dives right for that apex and leaves the inside of the next corner wide open for me to get through. I didn't even need ghosting for that, but that just shows the speed difference we're carrying going through these corners. Acceleration is arguably one of the most potent tools when it comes to toge, but if it's not balanced with your steering and your braking, then it's all going to amount to pretty much zero over the course of the race. Now, I released a pretty divisive video over this past week, basically making the argument that the build of the car is more important than the tune of the car, and I stand by it. And I got a lot of pushback telling me that the tune is more important than the build, and I fundamentally disagree, and here's why. The build is what ultimately establishes a car's fundamental performance limits, and no amount of tuning can fix a poorly planned upgrade path. Basically, the build sets the bar for the car. Things like your top speed, your braking, your power to rate ratio, your handling, etc. All of these things are established in the build. This is not to say that tuning doesn't matter. My argument is that building is more important than tuning. Tuning is still an important aspect of the game. To further explain this, I'll refer back to my comment about the build establishing the bar/potential of the car. Let's use an abstract number to establish what the build actually represents. That number will be 100. So our build has the capability of reaching that number 100. Now let's say we forego the tuning process and take it right to the streets for some racing. Our potential is 100, but the car is untuned, so we'll probably only be able to reach 90 through 98, depending on how the car actually feels to you when you bring it out the garage. It's gonna feel different to everybody because everybody likes a different feeling with their car. The tuning is what gets you all the way up to the 100, or at least very close to that 100. And that 100 will basically equate to hundredths or tenths of a second on the track. And while tenths of a second on a track during racing is very important, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to establish is that you don't need to be a tuning expert to be successful in this game, but you do need to be a building expert, or at least very good at building your vehicles. I had people telling me they wanted to take other people's tune and build a car for their tune. Fundamentally wrong mindset. Your build always comes first. And because it comes first and establishes that potential, it is more important than the tuning. And as always, happy racing, y'all.